Hey guys, Kurt here with WMAR, here today to show the new 2024 KTM 65SX. Today I'm going to be showing you how to take this bike from the lowered version, and we're going to go ahead and raise this thing up into the higher version, which is going to be 2 inches taller than the stock version. So without further ado, let's get rolling. All right, so first thing we're going to do is take the seat off. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove the fuel tank. Go ahead and get the fuel line off of there. Make sure your fuel's up before you pull that off, or you're going to have yourself a mess. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove these two side panels. Next thing we're going to go ahead and do is remove the air boot from the carburetor. Next, we're going to come over here and we're going to remove the silencer. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove the subframe bolts on both sides, top and bottom. Okay, now I'll go ahead and remove the subframe. Okay, next we're going to undo the shock here and put it towards the higher level. So right now it's on the placement for the lower end setting. So I'm just going to go ahead and undo this and move it towards the top. I have to do a little wigglage here. Then go ahead and move it to the top position. Fasten down. Next, we're going to go ahead and lower the fork legs into the clamps. I'm going to bring all the way down just to the top of the cap right here. Now make sure you do torque these to specs per the service manual. We're going to go ahead and tackle this subframe here. So on the 50, it's pretty simple. The 50 has a long snorkel that goes in and out of here, so it's able to do it without taking this air box apart. So this subframe has to come apart, and you have to reposition this air boot down lower in between these two sides of this subframe. So we're going to go ahead and split this thing. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and get this rear fender off. Two bolts on top and these two on the bottom. So once those four bolts are out, this rear fender will just slide right off. And I like to take a little screwdriver, and it helps pry this plastic piece off of this insert in here. It makes it a little bit easier. And do the other side. Go ahead and move on to the other side. Go ahead and pop this side off. Okay, now that those two are both off, what you're going to go ahead and do is undo these two bolts on this left side of the subframe right here. Once with that, then we're going to be able to take this subframe apart. So let's get in here, take this apart. And this one towards the back. All right, so now once we got those two bolts out, it's going to be able to split this subframe in half just like that. Now we got our two pieces. Now what we're going to do is we're trying to drop this snorkel, this air boot, lower into this subframe so it can reach the carburetor now since we raised it up. So once you got your subframe back together with these two bolts, we're gonna go ahead and get these two decorative pieces put back on. Start with this one here. Okay, let's go ahead and do the other side. Put our rear fender back on, just slide them right back into place, just like that. Nothing to it, super easy. Put those bolts back in. And do the two underneath. And fasten those. All right, and you're gonna wanna put your air filter back in. Fold that right back down, filters back in. Okay, now our subframe is good to go. All fastened back together in the high position. I'm just gonna set this down for now, and then we're gonna add the tank riser. So this is gonna come in your box when you buy your new 65. This will be in there. If it comes in a lowered position, this will probably be in the bag. It might be at a higher position when you get to sell. It depends on what your dealer decides to do when they get it. So we're gonna go ahead and put this under here to raise the spike up. So it's gonna sit just like that. That way the tank sits up on here and raises the tank up. Got your clamp for your intake boot. Go ahead and slide that back on. And make sure that the screw is at the bottom. So now we're gonna go ahead and fasten this back in here. Be very careful that it doesn't fall off. Just line up the intake boot and everything at the same time. Go ahead and grab your subframe bolts. And now, so we've moved from this lower position, and now we're gonna go ahead and mount into this higher position right here, okay? Okay, let's do this lower one. And now these bolts come with Loctite on them from KTM. I want to add a little bit more if you need to. Go ahead and get these fastened up. Always torque these to manufacturer specs. All right, once those are tight, make sure you come back to your intake clamp. Don't leave this one loose or it's going to be a real bad day. Go ahead and get this fastened back up. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the silencer back on. So previously when our silencer was attached, we were attached to this top mount up here. So now, since the bike's been lifted up, we're going to use this lower mount. Now let's go ahead and get our side covers back on. Make sure you want to slide these on from the back first because they got these little hooks on them. Try and push it on first, you're going to smush these up against there. So always make sure you slide this on from the back and get these hooked onto the rear fender. Okay, now our tank's fastened there, and you want to line it up here. So like how the silencer was, there's two different sets of where you can bolt this thing onto the shrouds onto the radiators here. So you're just going to use the higher point like you did with the silencer on the other side. So once those are lined up on these mounts, go ahead and put these bolts back in and fasten them up. Stick that vent hose down into the neck. Double check and make sure your fuel line's on. You'll know soon enough if it wasn't. That's good and tight. Let's go ahead and get our center screw back on here. If you're in the low position, you're gonna have this small bolt in there, okay? So in the bag that you're gonna get when you purchase the 24, you're gonna have an extra long bolt in there. See the difference between the two. So put this one aside, put it back in a safe place. Go ahead and take that long bolt, push it around through, grab your T-handle. Go ahead and throw your seat back on. Okay guys, so there you go. That's our height adjustability on a 2024 KTM 65SX. We've raised it from the low position into the high position, raising it 2 inches. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for the next one.